I was with some acquaintances in Sheffield this Saturday, and as usual, I fancied a cup of coffee. There's a nice coffee shop in the Winter Gardens called Zooby's, and I think it's one of those small businesses that's probably independently owned. I usually like dealing with businesses like that, and of course we've constantly been told recently to support local businesses. So let's see if they'll sell me a cup of coffee.
Great, thanks. Do you have a face covering?
No. Could I have a medium cappuccino, please?
I can't serve you unless you've got a face covering.
Why not?
It's just legal.
No, it's not.
That's what we've been told by the council.
Well, the council's wrong, though.
Either we can't, but we'll get fined.
Yeah,
Well,
Sheffield City Council came in and they told us we can't move chairs or serve anyone without masks, otherwise we'll get fined.
Who told you that in the council? Because I might need to take that up with my solicitor.
I don't know.
Well, no, they won't. Now, I don't wear a face covering due to a disability which I have, and the law on face coverings explicitly exempts people like me from having to wear one. The law doesn't require them to be fined for serving me without one. In fact, if I go in a shop and I don't wear a face covering, and I do that illegally, then I'm the one who would be liable for a fine, not the shop. Now, what's concerning here is that they say Sheffield City Council have told them. So there's someone at Sheffield City Council who doesn't have a clue about the law and is going around dictating who shops should and shouldn't serve and threatening them with non-existent fines. Now, I've verified what the law actually says, and one regulation that you don't seem to hear about too much is the Health Protection Coronavirus Restrictions Obligations of Undertakings England regulations of 2020. And Regulation 2A requires that the hospitality business provides information or signage telling people to wear a face covering in accordance with the Health Protection Coronavirus Wearing of Face Coverings in a Relevant Place regulations, unless an exemption under those regulations applies or the person has a reasonable excuse under those regulations. And they have to know about that, and they have to make the information available. So they either have to put a sign up or they have to tell you to either wear a face covering or that exemptions and reasonable excuses apply. They've clearly not done that in this case. The blanket rule is that you have to wear one. So because the business didn't do that, they didn't notify me of the exemptions and the reasonable excuses, they actually commit an offence under this Obligations of Undertakings regulation. Regulation 3 means they commit an offence if they've contravened Regulation 2A and 2B, and it says they can get a fixed penalty notice of £1,000, which, if paid within 14 days, will be reduced to £500. So, just by not providing that information, they've committed an offence and would be liable for a fine of £1,000. It's also likely that by refusing service to a disabled person due to an issue related to their disability, they've also committed possibly a civil matter, but also possibly a criminal offence by refusing that service. By having a blanket policy, they certainly would do. But it's also possible that Sheffield City Council have committed some sort of offence, or possibly a civil breach of the Equality Act, by going around telling businesses these. Now, I don't know what Sheffield City Council's guidance is that they're giving out. I'll have to contact them, but it's possible that I may well end up having to sue Sheffield City Council for disability discrimination because they are going around telling people that basically that they cannot serve disabled people.
Right.
Well, that was successful.
What, you got from that?
Yeah, they wouldn't serve me without a mask because Sheffield City Council told them.
So have you filmed them and so?
Greg's, no problem watching Greg's.
Oh, well, I had a steak bake from Greg's earlier, no,
And we
right.
sat in what we call it,
Atkinson's.
there was no maths there.
I
We did a track and
I've been
trace.
stopping at my dad's because of the situation at work.
Yeah.
Terrible. But anyway, I went to church on Wednesday, I think it was. So there was somebody else there, but now walks in. I guess with some fish and chips and in the yard. Turns around, I've come from that way, so I start one of me, use the other door, use the other door, use the other door.
It's crazy.
Are you really that stupid that you think by walking through that door you're not going to catch a virus? Are you really that stupid?
A lot are.
It's like they go into a cafe, don't they? They've got to wear the mask. But when they sit down, they're all right. Virus and stuff. You know, really?
I tell you, it bumps, isn't it? But at 10 o'clock,
Yeah.
you can't catch it before
As the
10.
auctionman insults me as I ain't spent any money in the pub since March. I'm quit this year.
So how did I rectify that situation on the day? Well, I didn't bother standing around arguing with them. I was with some supportive acquaintances who were outside, so I was able to go and have a bit of a moan to them. And then I took my money to Greg's, a big national chain, and bought a cappuccino from there.
Thank you. See you later.